Welcome to this transformational venture. Today's topic is how to write a good business plan. The learning objectives of today's session, the key topics to be covered: need for a business plan, difference between traditional business plan and lean startup business plan, 9 components of traditional business plan, 9 components of lean startup business plan with example, project financials and the appraisal technique and Gantt chart. After attending this session, you will be able to understand what are the essential components of a good business plan. Now, let us understand why a business plan is so important at this stage of your venture, when you all are going to start a new thing. There are 5 key reasons. A good business plan always guides you through each state of starting a venture and also managing your business. You can always use your business plan as a roadmap for how to structure, run, and grow your business. It's a way to think through the key elements of your business. Business plans can help you get funding or bring on new business partners. Investors want to feel confident they will see a return on their investment. Your business plan is a tool you will use to convince people that working you or investing in your company in a smart choice. So, business plan is very important for every new business, where not only to attract the investors, but also to run and manage your business. That's for your own purpose also. That serves your own purpose also. Now, we have to understand which business plan will suit. There are 4 salient points on this issue. Firstly, there is no right or wrong way to write a business plan. What's important is that your plan should meet your needs. Most business plans fall into one of the 2 most common categories: traditional business plan or lean startup business plan. Traditional business plans are most common. It is used in a standard structure to encourage the entrepreneurs to go into the details in each of the sections. They tend to require more work upfront and can be dozens of pages long. So it's a lengthy process and lot of voluminous work is involved in the traditional business plan. Whereas the lean startup business plans are generally less common, but still use a standard structure. They focus on summarizing what the entrepreneur want to do, the salient points, and the most important points of the key elements of your plan. They can take as little as 1 hour to make, and typically 1 page. So it's very brief, to the point, and is kept in a summarized form. So these are the two basic types of business plans. Now, these are the features of these two types. The traditional business plan has 9 sections. Also, the lean startup business plans have 9 sections. As I told you that the traditional business plan, this type of plan, is drawn in a very detailed manner. So it takes long time to write, and it's very comprehensive in nature. Whereas the lean startup business plan, as I explained in my last slide, this type of plan is focusing on your core business agenda, and it's very fast to write because it's only a 1-page summarized form, and it also contains some key elements. The traditional business plan can be split in 9 sections. The first one is the executive summary. Then we'll write the company description, then market analysis, organization and management structure, service and product line, marketing and sales, funding request, financial projection, and appendix. Whereas the lean startup business plan covers the key partnership, key activities, key resources, the value proposition of your business, customer relationships, customer segments, channels, cost structure, and the revenue stream. So each of the two formats can be splitted in 9 sections or 9 components. Let us discuss each of these components for each of the types. There are some salient points of traditional business plan. You might prefer a traditional business plan format if you are very detail oriented, want a comprehensive plan, or you want to plan for financing from any traditional sources. When you write your business plan, you won't have to stick to the exact business plan outline. Instead, you may use the sections that make the most sense for your business and obviously your needs. Traditional business plans use some combination of these 9 sections I mentioned in my earlier slide. In the very first section, there will be executive summary. Executive summary is the summary of your entire business plan. In this section, briefly tell your reader what your company is and why it will be successful. Then you should include your mission statement, your product or service, the basic information about your company's leadership team, employees, and the location. You should also include financial information and some high-level growth plans if you plan to ask for financing. Section 2 is about your company. So in this section, you will give the description of your company. Use your company description to provide detailed information about your company. Go into the details about the problems of your business solves. Be very specific and list out the consumers, organization, or businesses your company plans to serve. Explain the competitive advantages that will make your business a success. Put the answers to some key questions like, are there experts on your team? Have you found the perfect location for your business place or the store, whatever it is? Your company description is the place to boast about your strength. The next section is market analysis. We have done a lot of exercise on market analysis in our previous sessions. I am not going into the details of that, just to highlight a few important points, like you will need a good understanding of your industry outlook and also the target market. Competitive research is important. That will show you what other businesses are doing and what their strengths are. In your market research, look for trends and themes. Now, the time to answer a few questions like, what do a successful competitor do? Why does it work? Can you do it better? So, when you are organizing such a marketing analysis exercise for your organization, you should also look the strength areas of your competitors, and you should plan for doing something better to their respect. The fourth section is organization and management. In this section, tell your reader how your company will be structured and who will run it. Here you describe the legal structure of your business, state whether you have or intend to incorporate your business as a private limited company or a public limited company or a limited liability partnership or a normal partnership or a sole proprietorship firm. Use an organizational chart to lay out who is in charge of what in your company. Show how each person's unique experience will contribute to the success of your venture. Include the resumes and CVs, the biodatas of all the key members of your team in this segment. The CVs and all the attachments can be given with the report as appendix or the annexures. The next section is on service and product line. Describe what you sell or intend to sell and what service you offer. Explain how it benefits your customers and what the product life cycle looks like. Share your plans for intellectual property like copyright or patent filing. If you are doing R&D for your service or product, explain it in details. The next section is on marketing and sales. There is no single way to approach a marketing strategy. We have discussed the marketing strategy in a detailed manner. I am not going into the details of that. You have already developed some kind of knowledge within you to understand the marketing strategy. Your strategy should evolve and change to fit your unique needs. Your goal in this section is to describe how you will attract and retain your customers. You will also describe how a sale will actually happen. You will refer to this section later when you make financial projections. So make sure to thoroughly describe your complete marketing and sales strategies. Mind that these marketing and sales projections and strategies is directly linked with your financial projections. So this section is very important for your business plan. Now, this section 7 will give the details of your funding request. If you are asking for any funding, this is where you will outline your funding requirements. Your goal is to clearly explain how much funding you will need over the next 3 to 5 years and what you will use it for. In this section, you should specify whether you want debt or equity in terms you would like applied and the length of time your request will cover. In this section, give a detailed description of how you will use your funds. Specify if you need funds to buy equipment or materials, or to pay salary or rent, or to cover some specific bills until the revenue increases. Always include a description of your future strategic financial plans, like paying off debt or selling your business in the due course if it is in your strategic business plan. This is very important, and it is actually the most important part of your business plan, your financial projections. The financial projection will supplement your funding request. Your goal is to convince the readers that your business is stable enough and will be a financial success. If your business is already established, include income statements, balance sheet, cash flow statement for the next 3 to 5 years. If you have other collateral you could put against a loan, make sure to list it now. Provide a prospective financial outlook for the next 3 to 5 years. Include forecasted income statements, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and capital expenditure budgets. For the first year, be even more specific and use quarterly or even monthly projections. Make sure to clearly explain your projections and match them to your funding request. This is a great place to use graphs and charts to tell the financial story of your business. As I told you, financial projection is actually the main thing of any traditional business plan format. If you want to apply for any kind of funding, then this financial projection, the prospective investors will actually examine these financial projections. The last section of any traditional business plan is the appendix. Use your appendix to provide all supporting documents or any other materials that you want to provide with your business plan. The common items may include your credit history, your resume, your product pictures, letter of reference, license, permits, patents, any legal documents, any contract that you already have, or the technical details everything which is not a part of the main section of this report. You can enclose everything in this section as appendix. Now let us understand lean startup business plan. As you have already understood that the traditional business plan is drawn in a very detailed manner, and it takes time and many calculations, many research work has to be done on the facts and figures based on which the business plan will be drawn. Now we will understand the other type of business plan format, which is lean startup business plan. I told you that lean startup business plan is a summarized form, and it actually focuses on your core belief and your strategy. You might prefer a lean startup format if you want to explain or start your business quickly, your business is relatively simple, or you plan to regularly change or redefine your business plans. Lean startup formats are can be drawn in form of a chart that uses only a handful of elements to describe your company's value proposition, infrastructure, customers, and finances. They are useful for visualizing the trade-offs and fundamental facts about your company. There are many versions of lean startup templates, but one of the oldest and most accepted template is the business model canvas. The business model canvas, if you remember, we have already discussed it sometime in the initial phase of our lectures when we described the business impact assessment. There are 9 components of business model canvas, as I mentioned earlier. Now let us explain these components. These are like the sections that we have discussed for the other type of business plan. Now here the component 1 is key partnership. Note the other businesses or services you will work to run your business. Think about your suppliers, manufacturers, subcontractors, and similar strategic partners. As we have understood from our previous study, that partnership is very important for the startups and the new businesses. And since you are working in a very vulnerable environment, so this kind of partnership will give you some strength, which is more than the financial strength of your organization. And any flip side of your businesses, any flip side of your organization, or any weakness of your business or organization can be compensated with development of such partnerships and collaborations. So this is very important. Key partnership, development of key partnership, and component 1 will cover the details about the key partnerships strategy that you are taking. The component 2 is about the key activities. Highlight the things like selling direct to consumers or using technology to tap into the sharing economy. So the first job is to make a list the ways your business will gain a competitive advantage in this competitive environment, business environment. And the second job is to highlight things like selling direct to consumers or using technology to tap into the sharing economy. So the key activities is important part of this component 2. Component 3 will describe the key resources that you require. So you have to list down all the resources from where you will get some leverage to create value for your business and for your customers. Your most important asset could include your staff, your capital, or even your intellectual property. Don't forget to leverage business resources that might be available to women or veteran people or young people or student community or rural Indian or farmers, small businesses, these all are your different segments as per the demography. Fourth component is the value proposition. We have already suggested you the model for the customer value proposition. Make a clear and compelling statement about the unique value your company brings to market, where you have to define your target customers, what jobs to be done, what are the offerings. That is one part. On the other part, the key resources required for that value proposition, what are the key processes to be followed, and what is the profit formula to get the success. So you have to make a strategy of your value proposition, and in this value proposition component, you have to describe it briefly. The component 5 tells about the customer relationships, where you have to describe how customers will interact with your business. Is it automated or personal, in person or online? So what mode of communication you are adopting? Think through the customer experience from start to finish and take your decision. Next component is customer segments. We have discussed a lot about these customer segments in our marketing sessions. Be specific when you name your target market. Your business won't be for everybody. So it's important to have a clear sense of who your business will serve. So identification of right market and identification of right group of customers is very important for your business. What you have to do, and you have to specify that in this component. Next component is channels. List down the most important ways you will talk to your customers. Most businesses use a mix of channels and optimize them over time. So try to understand the different channels, try to mix the channels in a very optimal way so that you get the best result out of the channels. Next component is cost structure. It's very important. Will your company focus on reducing cost or maximizing the value? That you have to decide. It's absolutely your strategy. So it's required, highly recommended to define your strategy, then list the most significant cost you will face pursuing it. Now you have to be very clear on this. A shirt can be sold at 400 rupees. The shirt can be also sold at a price range of 2000 rupees. So what price bracket you will take for the selected customers and the selected market that you have to decide. And the cost of production will actually depend what kind of quality you want to provide to your customer. You will find a 10 rupee cost ballpoint pen. Also, you will find say 100 rupees ballpoint pen in the market, maybe in the same store. But the functionality, quality, and the features of these two products are completely different. There are buyers who will buy a pen that costs 10 rupees. There are buyers who will buy the pen that cost more than 100 rupees. So you have to select your customer and you have to make a cost structure according to the quality and according to the value that you want to provide to your customers. The last component is the revenue stream. In this component, explain how your company will actually make money, because all it's important and it's applicable to all businesses. Why you are doing business? You are doing business to earn profit. There is no philanthropic activity in business. So whatever you are doing, what effort you are giving, it's to earn money. So how your company will make money, that you have to convince the reader of your business plan. Section of revenue stream is very, very important. Some examples of your revenue streams may be direct sales, membership fees, selling advertisement space, anything. These are the sources of revenue for your business. If your company has multiple revenue streams, list them all. And also, you have to calculate, you have to understand what kind of revenue stream gives more margin to your business. My slides are coming on the screen. Okay, thank you. So this is an example of sample lean business plan. Example of a toy manufacturing company. All the components are given here in one page summarized form. The identity of the company, it's a toy manufacturer, high quality hardwood toys for children aged 3 to 10 years. Here you are also specifying the age group of your target customers, what solutions the company is providing. Our handcrafted toys are made from solid hardwoods. The competition you should also mention in this one-page summarized form. Wooden toys are part of niche market with companies of all sizes. Large companies include plastic toys and metal happy toys. They are the major competitor for this product. All are arbitrary names, not real, which sell internationally. Smaller companies sell locally in shops, craft fairs, or online. Marketing activities. Your company will communicate with customers with an email newsletter, targeted Google and Facebook ads, social media, and in person at craft fairs. Teams and the key roles: currently only team member is the owner, say his name is Andrew Robertson. As profit increase, the company will look to add more and more employees to assist the owner. The problem statement of the business: parents and grandparents are looking for high quality, durable toys that will entertain kids and foster creativity. The target market, the audience is adults, especially parents and grandparents who wish to give toys to their children or grandchildren as gift. Revenue stream: the company will sell directly to customers at craft fairs and also online mode. The expenses that the company meets: materials for toys including wood, steel and rubber, craft fair fees and travel cost, also inventory space for products. The milestones that the company sets: as business grows, the company will advertise in target markets, especially in advance of the holiday seasons. So this is a one-page summarized form of sample lean business plan. The detailed component we have discussed in our earlier slides. As I explained that the financial projection and the financial decisions are very important part of any business plan. So you have to understand these very in details. Now, to start a business, you need some money, which technically is termed as capital. Now, why money is required to start a business? Money is required to purchase assets. What kind of asset your company will procure? Your company will procure mainly the fixed assets, like if any land or building or factory shed is required, any equipment, any furniture, computers. So all these forms the fixed assets. Also, your company requires fund in working capital. Working capital is the capital which is required to run your business in day-to-day operations. So there are two types of assets. One is fixed asset, other is working capital. Now the question comes, how do I get my finance? There are two different ways to raise your finance. One is equity. Equity is the contribution of the owners, the founder of the business, or anyone who want to become the shareholder of your company. So that component is equity, which is technically termed as own fund, and the debt or the borrowed fund. Borrowed fund is the money which you are borrowing from other person or from other institutions. Now, generally, there is no hard and fast rule of that, but generally, the equity, the fund raised from equity shares are managed, are deployed to create fixed assets. Whereas the debt can be both long-term and short-term, and the debt can be utilized to create fixed assets as well as in application of working capital. So both the applications of fund, one in creating the fixed assets and application of fund in managing the working capital. So equity generally, although there is no hard and fast rule of it, equity generally is utilized to create financial assets where debt can be used for both the purposes. Now, the question comes, at what ratio you will raise this debt or equity? Again, there is no hard and fast rule. It can be 50-50, it can be 60-40, it can be 40-60, anything, any ratio, in any ratio you can raise debt as well as equity. But it depends on two basic factors. One is the business risk and the other is the financial risk, where you have to calculate a lot of things to understand this kind of risk. So there are some factors affecting the capital structure of your organization. To deal with the business risk, you have to understand the operating leverage, the proportion of fixed proportion of sales and your fixed cost. You have to understand the cash flow position, interest coverage ratio, debt service coverage ratio, all other business ratios important for this purpose, break-even analysis, working capital, operating cycle, liquidity, profitability, and also the tax rate. Similarly, to understand, to assess the financial risk, you have to first you have to estimate the required capital based on the assets, and you have to justify the creation of asset, whether it is that particular equipment or particular asset is genuinely required for your organization or not, because everything has a cost. Debt has its own cost. You have to pay interest, and equity also has its own cost. You have to pay dividend. So estimation of exact capital requirement is very important. And also you have to understand the financial leverage, cost of capital, both cost of debt and cost of equity, flotation cost. Flotation cost is some cost is involved in formation of the company. So that is the initial cost. And also you have to understand the return on investment and the tax rate applicable. Based on these financial figures, two important jobs are to prepare a projected account. If it is a new company, then you have to prepare projected profit and loss account, balance sheet, and cash flow. If your company is already in operation for more than 2 or 3 years, then you have to submit actual profit and loss account, balance sheet, and cash flow of your organization. Based on the figures, whether actual or projected, you should apply appraisal techniques to take decisions. These appraisal techniques are discounted cash flow, return on investment, or accounting rate of return, both accounting payback and discounted payback, profitability index, net present value of the project, internal rate of return of the project, and other key financial ratios. So these are the different techniques we use to assess your project. Another important exercise that I would recommend is to prepare a Gantt chart for the project. This is actually a list of the activities with start date and end date. So you are dividing your entire activity in terms of time, and which activity will start at what point of time and when it will end. So parallelly, how many activities will run together, and what will be the sequence of that, and what kind of resources you require, both monetary resources as well as human resources, manpower, to run those activities. So this will give you a comprehensive idea about and to plan for executing your project. This is also a very important part of your business plan. So you should include project Gantt chart at the end of your business plan to describe the activities and the duration of the activities, and also you can link this Gantt chart with your resource requirement for each of the period, say a monthly or quarterly. That's all for my today's session. To summarize the entire discussion, there are two types of business plan as we have studied. One is the traditional business plan, the other one is lean startup business plan. Traditional business plan has 9 sections. The first section is executive summary, where you have to put all the important information in brief, which is a part of your entire business plan. The second part is description of your company. Third part is market analysis. Fourth part is organization and management structure. Fifth part is service or product line. Sixth component is sales and marketing. Seventh component is fund request. Eighth component is financial projection, and the last part is appendix, to include all the documents that you want to enclose with your business plan. Now, the second type of business plan is lean startup business plan. That has also 9 key components. Key partnership, where you will explain what kind of partnership you want to build and what benefit that may give to your business, kind of key activities required for the project, what are the key resources required for the project, value proposition of your business, customer relationship management, customer segmentation, channels of communication, cost structure, and revenue stream. These are the 9 components of lean startup business plan. We have discussed financial decisions, which focuses on capital structure based on the estimated total revenue and required assets. There are certain financial parameters which will help you to optimize the capital structure of your organization, which is extremely important at the early stage of your business. Also, we have learned financial projections, including projected profit and loss account, balance sheet and cash flow statement. Financial appraisal involves certain techniques such as discounted cash flow, ROI, payback period, profitability index, NPV, IRR, and some other key financial ratios. Also, I suggested you to follow the Gantt chart, which is very useful tool to plan your work for this project. Thank you very much for your patience and joining this session.